Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. Fernando Sosa Pintor, age 52, of Sulphur Springs, was sentenced to 3 terms of 24 months each to run concurrently in federal prison. He was sentenced on Tuesday. Sosa Pintor was found guilty of 1 count of possession of child pornography, 2 counts of distribution of child pornography. He was found guilty in September of 2016. He had remained in the custody of the U.S. Marshals until he was sentenced. Under federal statutes, Sosa Pintor faced up to 20 years in federal prison on each charge. This case was investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office and prosecuted by Assistant U.S. District Attorneys Marissa Miller and Leslie Brooks. First arrested by the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office, the second arrest was initiated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Sosa Pintor had been held in Hopkins County Jail until Tuesday of August 4th, 2015, when he was taken to Plano for a hearing in federal court. He was arrested by Hopkins County Sheriff's deputies on Tuesday evening, September 23, 2014. Sosa Pintor was arrested when a search warrant was executed above a Mexican food restaurant on West Industrial in Sulphur Springs. Computers and electronics containing images of child pornography were seized. Hopkins County Trustee Farm reports a profitable month in work and produce. Sheriff Lewis Tatum opened the farm in a cost-saving move for county taxpayers. The farm has reduced the cost of each meal produced for inmates at Hopkins County Jail. During the month of March, 6 hogs, 6 cows, and 650 chickens were processed. All the meat processed by inmates and the correction officer. They also gathered between 40 and 70 eggs daily. They planted 2 gardens. One garden is 130 yards by 80 yards, the other garden 100 yards by 80 yards. In those gardens, they have planted 180 tomato plants, 40 pepper plants, 17 rows of green beans, 20 rows of corn, 3.5 rows of potatoes, and 1,800 onion plants, and 1/4 acre in squash. Responding to a call at the dollar store on Main Street at 9:17 a.m. Tuesday, Sulphur Springs police were told that a cell phone and charger had been taken from the store without purchase. Kerry Duffy, Jr., age 25, of Sulphur Springs, was located in the 100 block of South Moore Street a few minutes later. He had in his possession the stolen articles. He was taken to Hopkins County Jail, where, in the Sally Port, he admitted to having something in his sock. A paper containing white crystal substance believed to be methamphetamine was found in his sock. He was charged with theft of property under $100 with previous conviction and possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram. A Hopkins County deputy was called to an accident on Farm to Market Road 69 North at 5:53 p.m. Tuesday. The caller told dispatch that a 1998 Buick LeSabre ran off the road and struck a culvert. When the officer arrived, he found James Warren Hiller, Sr., age 63, of Dyke, in the driver's seat. A strong odor of alcoholic beverage was on his person. Hiller could not stand on his own, had slurred speech, and was not able to complete a field sobriety test. By his actions, he refused a breath specimen. A warrant for a blood draw was ordered. Hillier is in Hopkins County Jail, charged with driving while intoxicated, 3rd or more, being held on a $25,000 bond. Miles to go before complete was the theme for City of Sulphur Springs Utilities Department during conversation with the City Council Tuesday evening as the Council begins the budget process for next year. The Utilities Department was not the only department to meet with the City Council, but City Manager Mark Maxwell said they took the most time.
This was the beginning of the budget process. We're starting it a little different this year. Rather than starting off with the numbers, we're starting off with what are we doing? And why are we doing it that way? And does it need to continue to be done that way, or do we need to do something different? So we started off with a librarian, and we had some good discussion about the way things are evolving there at the library and the programs that she's implementing, and we went through really all of the departments. By far, the one that we spent the most time on last night was the utility department, specifically water lines and sewer lines. And we started 20 years ago with a capital improvement plan. We started fairly modestly, and we increased the amount we're doing it, and increased it, and increased. We did that 3 or 4 times. And in the space of those years, we have replaced about 18 and a half miles of sewer line and a similar number for water lines. The problem is we got about 100 miles more to go on each water and sewer. And to make the problem worse, we have a rough idea of what the age of the pipes are. And we've got an age that was, 15 to 30 that is now approaching 30 to 45, 50 years old. And a lot of these are depleted when they get to that age. And so if we don't, once again, increase our effort fairly dramatically, and it won't hit us today or even in the next couple of years, but in 10, 15, 20 years, it'll hit us really badly. And so we spent a good amount of time talking about that.
What were some of the answers to this issue?
Well, one of the answers, part of what exacerbates the issue is the fact that there's a whole streets component. You tear up a water line, a sewer line, and replace it. You've destroyed the street if there wasn't anything there to begin with, really. And so one of the things we discussed is the state. This is one of the few states in the union that collects gas tax and doesn't remit any of that gas tax to counties and cities to help fund their transportation needs. And at a time when they're actually trying to curtail cities and counties' ability to tax, it becomes even more important to get that transportation money to be able to put on our local transportation needs. And so we think we're going to have to get together with other cities and counties and start petitioning the legislature every session. Look, guys, you're killing us. We need some of that money. And I don't know that we have a very great chance of ever getting that done, but it needs to be attempted. And of course, the other way that it gets done is just through increased water and sewer fees. If we're going to double our effort, that's how it gets paid. And another idea that was floated is utility improvement districts, where let's say a neighborhood says, look, we love the fact that you're doing this, but we want our neighborhood moved up the list. Well, you're willing to split the cost of it and put it on your tax roll every year for the next 30 years, and move yourself up the list. And so that idea was floated. There was a lot of ideas. There were no decisions made. This was just an overview of, hey, what are the problems? What kind of things do we need to be thinking about? And like I said, that was the majority of the attention last night.
Obviously, with some of the street improvements that you are making, are you going to try to couple some of this water sewer work with the street improvements?
We always do. I mean, so Locust Street that we just replaced the utilities on, the street was already in need of a complete rebuild. The water line and sewer line were also in need of a complete rebuild, so it made perfect sense. If we find streets that are in need of a rebuild, but the utilities are okay, we find a way to eke those along for a few more years. Maybe we just do a cement stabilization and asphalt overlay as part of the summer paving program. So we already do that, and we would obviously continue to do that when we increase our effort, and we need to, because what happens to a city if all of a sudden your infrastructure is dead? It's not a pretty picture.
So this is going to be an ongoing thing that you're going to work on
for decades. Yeah, and really, this is not a unique story. This is playing itself out in towns all across Texas and other states that are of our age, that grew up as they went. Now you go to Royce City Fate, they've got a small core that's very old, and the rest of it's new. And when you're building new water lines and sewer lines, suddenly we have this new material called, for sewer, SDR26 PVC, or for water, C900. They're both very thick, very durable types of PVC. And we don't even know how long they last. I mean, we suspect at least 100 years. We don't know how much it goes beyond it. But we've got clay tile sewer lines and asbestos sewer lines. Yeah, that's a fun one. And cast iron water lines. And we've got, 100 miles to go.
Looking for answers.
Yeah.
You mentioned the library a moment ago. Obviously, with digital coming into play more, what is the library looking at for its future?
So the library is already checking out ebooks. I don't know if you knew that. And the percentage of checkouts that are ebooks is increasing, although the standard checkouts are increasing as well, but as a percentage we're seeing that grow. No big surprise there. Number of hours used on Wi-Fi at the just internet access is a huge component of what they do. And I really think that over the years that becomes more of a component. Physical books probably less, although it's probably better minds than mine in the think tank somewhere that need to answer that question. And probably our librarian, certainly our librarian, has a better feel for that than I do. But that'd be a great interview for her.
Anything else?
Oh yeah, and so one of the topics was a comprehensive plan for the city. We have a plan. We call it the general plan. It's a comprehensive plan that we adopted in, I think, 97, and it's very, very rudimentary. And we just put it together because, honestly, we needed a land use plan so that we could judge zoning decisions against it, and a utility plan and a streets plan, and that's really the only, it's made of 3 maps, and enough verbiage to describe the 3 maps, and that's all we have. We never stopped to ask the big questions. Where do we want to go with ourselves? And what do we see as our future? Well, we're about to do that, and we're bringing Ian Lockwood back in, the same Ian Lockwood that designed Main Street and the Square and Connolly Street and all of that. And he's bringing a team of municipal planners with him, and they're going to lead us through that process. And we're going to look at big picture and several little picture projects to do along the way. And we're probably going to come back then a few years after it and fine tune it, because this is a process. And so he's going to be here in May, and so I'm alerting you and your viewers and listeners now that pay attention. You're going to see a date come up in May. We're going to start this with a dinner like we did before. That's going to lay out the big issues. We're going to do the charrette process where you come in and you give your input one-on-one to the planners, and it starts coming together. And at the end of a week, they've got a pretty good idea of what that plan looks like, and they go back and they put it all together. So that process, and to me that's the most exciting thing that we've got going right now, because that will shape the future of our city more than anything. That's how we got started on downtown. You see what came from it. Now imagine that growing in concentric rings out from the center.
Yeah, when you're talking about looking at growth, are you talking about some zoning?
Oh yeah, so this you've heard staff talking about and council talking about form-based codes for some time. Form-based codes won't be done as a part of the comprehensive plan, but probably a result of the comprehensive plan, and probably not for the entire city, but for certain districts, one at a time. It's too difficult and really implausible to do something like that on a citywide basis. But we can take districts and do it, and basically you'll end up with neighborhoods that are improved in a manner like downtown has been improved over time. And it won't all happen at once. But if the plan is in place, we make sure that all new development that occurs is a step in that direction.
Here's Don Julian with sports.
The Wildcats baseball team squeezed by Mount Pleasant 3-2 at home Tuesday night, and we learned more from Wildcats baseball coach Jared Hammock.
Yeah, it was a home game. We hadn't had that many home games. Had another nice crowd, I thought, and had our ace on the mound, one of our aces. We got two really good pitchers, we think, and Ryan has thrown well. He threw well again. I think he threw a 4-hitter. I think he struck out 8, which might have been a season high, walked 1, and so he did his part. We hurt him in the field a couple of times with some errors, but for the most part, we made the plays we needed to make. And Tristan hit a home run, 3-run homer in the first inning that kind of got us on the board up 3-1, and then we just didn't really do much offensively the rest of the game. We struggled getting leadoff men on each inning, and then the time we did, we weren't able to move them. We're a better hitting team, I think, than we have shown here lately, but we've been scrappy, and as long as you get well-pitched games like we're getting, you're always going to be in a game. And, this is the second one-run game in district that we've won, and I think that says something about the team and the guys that we have, that we're able to win these tough ones, these tight ones. And so, we're 4-0 now. We're sitting in a good spot, but there's a lot of ball to be played.
Yeah, the so-called experts have to be shaking their heads going, wow, 4-0, who would have thought? But, we've talked about that before. Those are usually predictions based on the last season.
Right. And, the semifinal team we've talked about was not predicted to make the playoffs. And, we're one series away from Austin. And so I don't put much stock in them. It's hard for a magazine, I'm sure, to cover the entire state with a lot of accuracy. You base it, like you said, on last year's results were not good. And most of those guys are back. So I guess naturally that's what they think. They didn't pick T-High in the top 4 either, and right now they're maybe 3. And so you can't go by that. You just got to play the game, try to get better on a daily basis, and just go out and compete. And that's what we're doing. And our guys are playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of belief that we're the best team.
4-0, going to Greenville. Everybody already dreaming of 5-0. It's kind of a trap game, isn't it?
I hate them. I'll be honest. I hate them with a passion. I'd rather play Hallsville 3 times than have to deal with games like that, because you just never know what a young person is thinking and how they're going to approach their business. Because to me, you're just playing the game. You're just trying to play the game to perfection, execute what you can execute, make your plays, get on base, move runners, and so forth. No matter who you're playing, you're doing the same thing. But in young people's minds, they may be thinking, they haven't won a district ball game, they're not any good. And that can't be our mentality, because anybody can beat anybody on any given day. We know that. And so, we'll try to get that message across. I've talked already many times about just we can't get complacent, like we've arrived and, we don't have to do anything else, because we're not good enough to just walk out on that field and win a ball game. You got to play and you got to execute. And so that's what we'll focus on. And I think this team, is much more mature than we were a year ago. I think they understand that. And I think they'll respond accordingly.
Had some scary moments in Greenville. I remember some games over there that I thought would be pretty easy, and we either lost or almost lost.
Absolutely. I can recall a loss over there that is haunting to this day. And, a lot of times the weather's crazy over there. It's blowing 30 miles an hour, and it just doesn't seem like you can get anything out of the infield. And, we've had some tough moments over there. We've also had some good moments. And like I said, with this team, it's a totally different team than a year ago. It's more on the lines of 2 years ago team. And like I said, I think we'll take care of our business, and we'll approach it with the right mentality and do the best we can.
The bases are now loaded for the Lady Cats. And here's Brinkley Driver. Swung on and hit out into left field with a lot of power. That's over the wall for a home run. A grand slam home run for Brinkley Driver. The Lady Cats softball team got a big district win over Mount Pleasant 10-4 Tuesday night at Lady Cat Park. And we get more details from Lady Cat softball coach David Carrillo.
That was a big win for us to be able to catch us back up, in the top tier of the district. That win right there put us in a 3-way tie for second with a record of 4-2. So, it was a big game, when again, we challenged the kids, and they came out and played. And, Brinkley Driver with the big home run again, the grand slam, and, Kristen Allen added one. And, Bailey, I thought she pitched well last night. She got in a couple of jams, but she was able to get herself out of it. And, that's all you can ask. I thought, defensively, I thought we played well, for the most part. And, again, we just challenged our kids because, this is a big second half coming up, and we knew we needed this one to, again, to solidify a chance to maybe possible district championship, or we want to finish either 1 or 2 seed in the district.
Yeah, double-digit hits just up and down. I started starring the players that did something fantastic on offense, and I think I starred 7 or 8 of them.
Yes, I mean, yeah, there was too much to name. I thought we all, like I said, played well. They've been hitting the ball well. I believe we got 13 hits last night, and off of the pitcher they have over there is she's a very good pitcher. That started, and then the other one they brought in is not bad also. I know the circumstances they were playing under. It's tough, and it hurts your heart. For them to have to deal with that and to battle through that. But they're trying to get through it, and we're all just have heavy hearts for them.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Very wonderful opening to that game with both teams out there together and thinking about their tragedy and reminding those folks in Mount Pleasant that that they're our friends too,
yes,
even though we compete with them.
Yes, they're our friends, and that's why I think the bigger picture of competition in sports, this is what we do, but it's not who we are, our identity, and I think with what the tragedy that happened there, it hit pretty close to home to all of us, because if you're coaching or you're a player, we all ride the buses, we all have to do certain things, and again, your heart, you have a heavy heart for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Greenville's next now. This will start the second round, 4-2 in the first round, and I know that was kind of a big game for us because you didn't want to be down near the middle, and now you're up where you wanted to be, up near the top.
Yes, and going through the second round, everything's different. So we've talked about it, and we got our vision out there. We want to go undefeated the second round, and I don't think if you can't put it out there and you can't see it and you can't talk it, then we need to be going to do something else. So I feel like we're going to come out and play a great second half of district, and I think we're getting hot at the right time, and we've kind of changed some things and the way we do things, and I think it's just a plus for us. And it's just going to make us better.
Yeah, you don't want to trip up with Greenville coming into our field, so that's a must win.
Yes, that is a must win. All of them. I've said it before. We're going to take it one game at a time, and this is Greenville's next, and we'll work from there. But I feel confident in the way we're playing, and I just feel we're going to be good. Second half, and we'll see where we fly at the end of the second round and see where our seeding is.
The Wildcats golf team played in a district preview tournament Tuesday at the Rockwall course, where the district tournament will be played next Monday and Tuesday. We get the latest Wildcats tournament news from Wildcats golf coach Chris Owens.
Yes, sir. We played the district preview tournament over in Rockwall Golf and Athletic Club, which is where our district will be played next Monday and Tuesday. We shot 325 as a team yesterday. A little disappointed with that. I hope it's kind of a wake-up call for us. Nobody just played terrible, but we were just a little bit off yesterday, 5 or 6 strokes kind of each guy. But hopefully with seeing the course again, we've seen it a couple times, that we can understand what we need to do better and learn from that and move on and be where we need to be, Monday and Tuesday.
Was the weather conditions windy or anything like that? Or just
not really. It's always windy there, especially on the back nine. It's on the lake. But it was actually it had as less wind as I've seen it. It was still windy, probably a 10-mile-an-hour wind on the back nine, but, that's calm for that place. So that really wasn't a factor. So, each guy had something a little different that was just a little bit off yesterday. But, hopefully that's kind of, as I said, it was a wake-up call. And, we'll do what we need to do and learn from that and be more prepared. But
you've had guys shooting in the 70s. How'd they do yesterday?
Yeah, each guy on the team has shot in the 70s in a tournament sometime or another, and some more consistent than others. But yesterday, our scores, Caleb Lewis led us out with a 79. That was the best score we had, and typically, I got 3 or 4 in the 70s, which is what we need. Alex Moats shot 80. Carter Lewis shot 82. Matt Calhoun shot 85. Andrew Escobar with an 84. Cameron Morris with an 87.
All right. Well, what's next for the golf team now?
Next is Monday and Tuesday district. So we've got 5 days to get ready and get our mind right and go take care of business.
3 members of the Lady Cats golf team played in a district preview tournament at the Rockwall Golf and Athletic Club on Tuesday. I talked with Lady Cats golf coach Whitney Spigner.
It was a rough day for us, and it started out a little sprinkly and a little windy, and it stayed windy all day. And Rockwall's course is pretty tough, and my girls came in there thinking that, and with that mindset, it's hard to overcome that. And so that's something we're going to work on before next week because we play there as well. But Morgan Lander, she shot a 105, and I was talking to her about that. She was 17 over through 4 holes. So if you take those 4 holes away, you're looking at an 80-something. And so she's optimistic for how she'll do next week. And same thing with my other 2 girls. Alyssa Sotelo, she shot a 117. That's higher than typical, but we had a non-stroke limit instead of a triple bogey. And triple bogey kind of gives a false sense of how you really play, because heck, on a par 3, instead of a 6, you can get a 9. And that happened a couple of times to us. We got to work on getting more consistent on our swings. And Emma Lane was our 3rd, and she shot a 133. It was a rough day for her. But we couldn't compete as a team because of EOC testing, and we had a freshman as our 4th, and so she wouldn't have been able to play. But district is next week, and we're hoping to look for maybe 1 or 2 of us making it to regionals, so we'll see. We have top 3 is pretty set in stone. They're pretty good teams in T-High, Long Pine Tree, and Hallsville. Those 3 are pretty good. So we're looking for some individuals, hopefully, that we can make it. But that's next week, Monday and Tuesday, both at the same course. So they've already seen it. So we'll see how they do.
I know that course over there, I think the whole second 9, or the back 9, is all around that lake. And
it's right next to it, no trees,
windy.
And that's where we started, and it was windier, kind of in the middle of the round. So it kind of helped us out that way. We were already on the front 9. When all that wind started picking up, and so we were surrounded by trees, but we're hoping the wind and everything dies down, and we have 2 good days next Monday and Tuesday.
Very good. The Sulphur Bluff Bears topped the Saltillo Lions 16-6 in Saltillo on Tuesday. The Bears had an 8-run first inning. They added 1 in the second, 2 more in the fourth, and 5 more in the fifth. Saltillo rallied with 6 runs in the bottom of the fifth to make it a 16-6 final. Jaden Goldsmith got the pitching win for Sulphur Bluff. For the Bears, on offense, Brennan Seymour was hit by a pitch 3 times, and he walked once and had an RBI. Kai Rochelle was hit by a pitch. He had a walk and an RBI. Goldsmith was 2 for 3 with a walk. Joe Forshee walked 3 times and had an RBI. Jacob Watts was 2 for 3 with a walk and an RBI. Trayton South was 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. Hunter Wallace was 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Ryan Vance was 1 for 2 with an RBI. Dylan Flowers was 1 for 2 with an RBI. And Ricky Hatfield was 1 for 3 with an RBI. The Cumbie Lady Trojans got a big win at Roxton, 17-1 Tuesday, in a game shortened to 2.5 innings. The Lady Trojans are now 4-4 in district play. Paige Seeley got the pitching win for Cumbie, and Carly Talley pitched in relief. Martina Gonzalez and Sydney Spillers each had 4 RBIs. Gonzalez hit an inside-the-park home run with the bases loaded. 2 batters later, Spillers hit an inside-the-park homer. Alyssa Morgan was 2 for 2 with an RBI. Laura Rector and Seeley had 2 RBIs each. Elise Bullock walked 3 times, and Harley McLary had a 2 RBI double. The Lady Trojans will play in Bland on Friday. And finally, in sports, the Saltillo softball team lost games at North Hopkins on Monday and at Detroit on Tuesday. The Lady Lions had a 2-0 lead after the first inning at North Hopkins, but the Lady Panthers scored 8 runs in the bottom of the second to take an 8-2 lead. The Lady Lions narrowed the gap to 8-3 after 3 innings and 8-5 after the top of the fourth. North Hopkins added 3 in the bottom of the fourth to lead 11-5. Both teams scored in the fifth. The Lady Lions added 2 and North Hopkins 3, and the score was 14-7 after 5 innings. North Hopkins tacked on 3 more runs in the bottom of the sixth to make it a 17-7 final. For the Lady Lions, Tori Mobley had a home run and Madison Simmons hit a double. The Lady Lions got singles from Casey Sanders, Rainey English, Jordan Sestair, and Melissa Tawill. On Tuesday, the Lady Lions lost at Detroit 13-0. Detroit scored 8 runs in the first, 2 more in the third, and 1 each in the fourth and fifth innings. Casey Sanders had a single for the Lady Lions.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.